Why? Because he's hard to take down. Like, you know what I mean? He's a nightmare to take down. He's got long limbs. He's got long arms. And I'm pretty sure he works a little bit of wrestling defense.
After going through Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, and Kelvin Gastelum, my next guest is finally fighting for the UFC middleweight belt once again in one of the most highly anticipated rematches of the year as he takes on Israel Adesanya next week at UFC 271. Australia's own Robert the Reaper Whittaker. Welcome back to Submission Radio. Welcome to the show. And you've got a new microwave as well. So things are going well today.
So the housekeeping come in and replace the microwave. It wasn't working, so at least now I can cook me stuff a little better.
Oh mate, you got to buy Ja Rule's microwave cookbook now and take it for a bit of a test drive. But man, the big fight is finally around the corner. It feels like it's been teased for an eternity. Mentally, how would you describe, yourself heading into this fight week, and what would you say is the biggest difference mentally compared to the first one?
Oh, mentally, comparatively to the first one, the differences are too many to name. Like, honestly, I'm in such a better place now than when I was there. Like, I just know who I am. I know why I do it. I know what I'm doing, and those differences just make me really comfortable with who I am and what I'm about.
What do you reckon was like sort of going through your mind this time around, with the first fight? We're about 1.5 weeks ahead. You seem a lot more relaxed this time around. What do you think was sort of going through your head the first time?
Yeah, well, honestly, like it was such a different experience because for one, I was burnt out from the game itself. So the camp was just a slog trying to get through it. I was dragging my feet, getting the training, doing everything that I was doing for the fight. That it just wasn't fun. I wasn't enjoying it. Whereas this time, it's been hard. It's been hard work. It's been a hard camp, but I've been enjoying it. I'm enjoying the ride. I've made sure to enjoy the moments between sessions a lot more. I'm enjoying this week. A week out from the fight, I'm enjoying this week a lot more. I'm enjoying the lead up and the build up a lot more. I'm happy. I'm in a much better place.
People aren't hitting you up going, hey, Rob, can I have 10 tickets for my family for Marvel Stadium? And we don't want nosebleed seats, please. We want it right near the octagon. And you're like, hey, man, I'm getting ready for the fight. Because, man, you're over in Houston. For those that don't realize, you guys are fighting in Houston, Texas. So that must be a lot easier as well, not having to worry about all that kind of stuff and all the hometown pressures that come with fighting in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. As nice as it is, fighting at home and fighting in front of a home crowd. And I do want to do it again. It's, on the other side of it, it's just relaxing, not fighting at home because, it feels like work. It feels like you hop on the plane, you fly away, you bunker down, you get through the weeks, you do your work, you go home. And just that check-in, check-out sort of mentality and approach to the fight weeks just changes the whole feeling. It changes the whole atmosphere of the fight, if you would, So these last few fights, it's been the same thing. I've been fly in, fly out, check in, check out. And, when I'm here for work, get my head down, do what I need to do, go home, relax. And just that approach I really enjoy that approach. It really agrees with me.
I know you love the Abu Dhabi ones because that was like super business, like minimal everything, just pretty much rock up and bit of media, then fight. But heading into this one, I think for me personally, arguably the most interesting thing in this lead up was when you spoke to, I want to say MMA Junkie, and then later on with Ariel about how much of a factor ego may have been in that initial fight, which to me I liked it how candid it was because it's just not something that you hear a lot of people, speak about or admit. We're so used to a lot of these sort of cliche answers in the sport, and then you really just pull back the curtain and we're very honest about that. Just talk to us about that and what you sort of learned about yourself and especially regarding ego.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't. Everyone's bloody asking me about it. I didn't go into it that much. You know what I mean? It wasn't that big of a revelation. Let alone, I never mentioned it played a huge impact in the first fight. Okay, it's just it was there. That's all. And the thing is, like, I think it was just like an accumulative effect. You know, it was an effect that was just making everything much harder than it should have been, or making things affect me a lot more than they would have because of the ego. You know, and I think we all have ego, and I think in places and in quantities, I think ego is a good thing, especially for fighters. You know, we're fighting with people. People are trying to take away what's ours, but I think it got away a little bit on me just because of the media and because of just I guess the scenario and the situations and the atmosphere, the tone the media was selling to the fans of this rivalry between Australia and New Zealand, about the tone of the arena and of fighting at home and of this and of that, and it just got a bit much. That's all.
Was it kind of like, because of how big it was built up, you kind of felt like, I don't want to say the pressure to perform, because of course you felt the pressure to perform, but like because of everything sort of surrounding it, it added, you know, elements that maybe weren't there. Like for example, with this one, heading into this one, how would you describe the rivalry between yourself and Israel? Because I know even last time you told us there's no Australia versus New Zealand thing, and I think most Aussies kind of understood that, you know?
Yeah, well, this one's completely different tone. I feel there's an underlying sense of mutual respect. You know what I mean? It's we're both the two best in the game. You know, he's the champ and I'm number one, and we've ran through everybody else. And I think there's a certain level of mutual respect that comes from that. I think the fact that the New Zealand-Australia rivalry isn't so much getting thrown in everybody's faces here. We're understanding, like, this is Australia-New Zealand, you know, taking over the world sort of thing. Yeah, you know, and like, in saying that, we're not mates. Like, far from it, we're not mates. But I just don't think, because this time the media, where we're fighting in Houston, and just the way the media is not angling that rivalry and that stuff, the fight isn't personal. I feel like a lot of different reasons, the fight just got led into that personal sort of space, that first fight. And because of it, it sucked me in, if you would, you know, especially because, like I said, we mentioned, you guys mentioned earlier on, is that like my head wasn't in the right place. So not having my head in the right place, and then all the media effects on it, and then making it personal on top of it, it just swept me away, mate, into like a little bit of a whirlpool. So and leaving the game, and then working out my whys and wants and who I am, and having confidence now in who I am, it's you know, like I said, a much better place.
And I mean, it's an interesting relationship as well with the title, because you held it for so long. But I imagine with that first title reign, and I know you spoke to us a little bit about it, like the pressures of having that title and the stuff that comes with it. Do you feel like when the title comes around this time, and things go to plan against Israel, you'll have a bit of a different relationship if you become champion once again? Do you believe, in your head, do you kind of see it as almost being a different situation in a few ways?
Okay, the thing is, I haven't really thought about it, because of everything you've just spoken about, there's only one thing that I can control, and that's myself. That's how I approach everything. It's who I am. It's what I want to be, and that's, I guess, in going to this fight, you know, as I am and the way I am and the way I've been doing things, you're bound to have a different result on the end. Now, I haven't planned for anything past the fight. I don't know how I'll deal with anything. Who knows what happens after the fight? I just haven't planned for after the fight. It's too hard of a fight to make future plans.
I remember when you told us, you were speaking to Ariel, and you were saying how, like, you know, the hatred kind of, I don't think you used the word consume, but, you know, it was too much in your head, and it's something that you just let go of. And you can see it, like, even when you do interviews nowadays, just the way both of you and Israel speak about each other is different. But I always laugh when you were saying ahead of the Kelvin Gastelum fight, like, you hated Mexican food, because you were like, nah, I can't have anything in common. And that was just something that you did with all your opponents. It's like, whatever they liked, you were like, nah. And that was just the sort of mentality that you put yourself in. Is that still a thing? Like, are there certain things with Israel where you're like, nah? Or is this kind of part of the new Rob where, you know, maybe it's a little bit different this time?
It's hard to say. Yeah, I think, I definitely don't care as much. Definitely don't care as much. Yeah, I don't. Honestly, I don't care.
And you're just to confirm for all the Mexican food heads out there, you're back on Mexican food now, right, Rob? Because I know there's a microwave back there, man.
Yeah, obviously not right now, but I am quite a fiend of a burrito or two.
It's a hard-hitting questions here on Submission Radio. There's just no doubt about it, and I think that's a great example of it. Let's talk about the actual fight week itself. That's coming up next week. You mentioned how you guys are respectful and things are different this time. What are you kind of expecting from the press conferences and from the stare downs and from things this time around?
Mate, honestly, it's just work as usual. It's just another fight. It's going to be a hard fight, no doubt. And because this is a rematch, so I know how hard the fight is going to be. I've been there, I've done it. It's a hard fight. So, but my headspace is just as it has been the last few fights, and it was to a degree before the loss of the title. But it's just another work week, mate. I've got to bring the calories down, make the weight, eat some food, fight, earn a paycheck, go home.
Mm-hmm. I know that.
Check in, check out, mate.
Do a show with Tai Tuivasa, take over Houston, do some partying.
What happens after the fight can be, it happens after the fight.
Yeah, Shui TBA, to be announced, or to be confirmed. I was going to ask you though, you mentioned at one point how you see Israel Adesanya as beatable. I wonder when was sort of the moment where you saw something in him or you observed something and it kind of confirmed to you that, like, yep, this is obviously a winnable fight and he is beatable. What did you see there?
Well, I guess, like, obviously when he lost to the Jan, everyone knew he was beatable then because he got beat, right? But there were just stylistically, I could see some angles that Jan could capitalize on that I thought, you know what, maybe I can capitalize on those as well. And again, when he fought Vettori, I thought the same thing. I saw places where Vettori took advantage, spaces where Vettori took advantage of, and I thought, well, I can do that better. And I guess, and that's not to say that he's got huge gaping holes. He's the champ for a reason. He's bloody good at his craft. But I just feel like I have a skill set that, that if he slips up, I'm going to take everything away from him. And, I look to try and make a mistake.
Do you kind of laugh when you see people preview this fight and they just go, "Oh, well, Rob's just going to take him down because of the Jan Blachowicz fight"? Like, do you when you see those kinds of comments, do you kind of laugh because people don't really see the full picture here when it comes to probably the game plan that you and your coaches have going into this rematch?
I don't think anyone who doesn't fight at the highest level has any real grasp on what it feels like to be in a fight. Okay, and I mean anyone who hasn't fought at the highest level, they can't fully grasp how hard it is to do certain things in a fight, or what's going through your mind during a fight, or how high the stakes are and how heavy the pressure is. Nobody, unless you fight at the highest level, nobody knows. You can't know. And people are saying you just got to get him on his back. Then why haven't anybody done it? Why hasn't anybody done it? If it's that simple, why has nobody in the history of Adesanya's career just taken him down and held him down for 5 rounds? Why? Because he's fucking hard to take down. Like, you know what I mean? He's a nightmare to take down. He's got long limbs. He's got long arms. And I'm pretty sure he works a little bit of wrestling defense. I have an inkling that that's what he does. He works a little bit of his wrestling defense because he's so good at striking. He does want to get taken down. So when I see people just like, oh, it's simple, just take him down. Yeah, it is simple. You know what else is simple? If I were to get a piece of paper and write down a game plan and say, punch him in the chin, that's a simple game plan that is surefire to win. It's a little harder to pull off, when you have all the factors of a title fight going through there. Because remember, it's not like a game plan where you give it to someone and then all they have to do is execute that game plan on a dummy that isn't moving, that isn't trying to actively counteract whatever the hell it is you're doing. It's sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there, but
no,
that's good. Good rant. Classic
I got my
rant.
point across.
I love it because that reminds me of back in primary school. Somebody would write that down on a piece of paper for me, and it never worked out well. So just for people out there, it's some great insight. Hey, by the way, you worked with Tim Tszu. I know you've been working with him for a while. What was it like being able to work with him leading into this fight? Because I always wonder, like, do you guys work together frequently? Like, is he just like a common person that you would work with during a fight week? Or is that more like that you would do it from time to time just because you guys are friends and you like to keep in touch and stuff and just see how things are going? How big of a part of this training camp was he?
Well, I guess during a camp, when I feel like getting hit in the face a bunch of times, I just give him a buzz. You know what I mean? And, we have a great relationship. I wouldn't say we're like weekend mates where we go out for a feed or anything like that. But if we want hard work together, we want hard sparring, and I want to sharpen up my eyes and my hands a little bit more, and he wants to hit someone a little bit more. We set it up. Our coaches are close. Our teams are close enough that we can call each other up and organise sparring. If it's at the right times, because if I'm out of season or he out of season, we're different weight divisions. There's all that taken into consideration. But it's just good work. It's good work, and we have that relationship with this team where we can work together at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, for sure. You know what else you can do at the drop of a hat? Open up a whole new world of possibilities and TV shows and movies thanks to NordVPN. All you got to do is change your virtual location. Now you've got a whole bunch of brand new movies you can watch. I've spoken about before how when I was in Bali holidaying, we were smashing out Breaking Bad. What an amazing show. And then we got to about season, I think, 4, come back to Australia. Netflix Australia doesn't have Breaking Bad. I believe it's on Stan. So what we did is we used NordVPN. We changed the virtual location back to Indonesia. Now our TV and computer thinks we're in Indonesia. Breaking Bad back on the menu. And you can do the same thing. Even maybe you want to buy UFC 271, but maybe you're in a country with geo-blocking. Maybe you're living in China where, you're not allowed to watch anything and you want to access your Fight Pass. And so you use something like NordVPN to change your virtual location. Now you're in a country where it's permitted and you can surf safely, stream securely with no buffering. Also, we don't want to know what you're getting up to. Incognito mode. It's not the final frontier. It doesn't protect you from anything. Your internet service provider is still going to be seeing what you're looking at. Fire up NordVPN. Now they can't see anything. They don't track anything. They don't collect any data or information on you. You can access content from over 59 different countries with thousands of servers by changing a virtual location with one click. No buffering. Stream securely. You may not own a Rolls Royce, but you can have the Rolls Royce of VPNs in NordVPN. Isn't that right, Dennis?
Yeah, man. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not happy. So there's absolutely no risk in doing it. Go to nordvpn.com/submission or use the code word submission or click the link in the description below to get up to 70% off your NordVPN plan plus 1 additional month for free. Jump on it. No risk. 30-day money-back guarantee. Change your streaming, your browsing, your internet life forever. And Cass, coming up, obviously, this weekend, we've got a pretty big fight for the middleweight division. Jack Hermansson versus Sean Strickland. Jack Hermansson plus 180, Sean Strickland minus 220. Only one place to go to make some serious cash on it, and that is at MyBookie. You guys can double your first deposit with the code word submission. And of course, next weekend, we're talking to Rob right now, the big one. Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya. The odds as we speak right now. Robert Whittaker plus 210. Israel Adesanya minus 270. Do you go round by round? Do you go by the way of stoppage? Oh, so many ways to make some serious cash with MyBookie. But there's only one thing for sure. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with the code word submission at MyBookie, Cass.
That's right. UFC 271 on the Sunday. And then on the Monday, you know what time it is. It's Valentine's Day. Don't be unprepared. Make sure your balls are as smooth as eggshells with the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0, the best pound for pound grooming tool on the market with the 7,000 RPM pure power motor, the skin safe technology, so never cut one of your balls off ever again. You got the LED light, you've got the waterproof features, the travel lock. You just do it in the shower, then you throw it on the wireless charging dock and just move on with your life and have a fantastic Valentine's Day. The Performance Package 4.0 comes with the lawnmower 4.0 itself, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, and the Crop Reviver ball toner, so your boys are always fresh. Throw in a free bag and free underwear. Doesn't get any better, isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, man. 20% off with the code word submission and free shipping. That's 20% off and the code word with the code word submission and free shipping. Do it today and change your Valentine's Day, man. Get some action. Be a smooth criminal this Valentine's Day, Cass.
That's right. But Rob, going back to you and just what you were talking about, like, you know, game plans and how it's a lot harder than you know, people perceive it to be, and then also like the, you know, the ego and the mental side of things. What do you think was more important for this fight in terms of improvements? Improving technically and strategically, or mentally for you?
Both. You know, if I had to say, definitely mental for starters, because if I didn't work on that, I wouldn't be back in the game. Okay, so taking time out and working on the mental side of fighting, of my career, it's such a bigger area than my career per se. You see, all the interviews and all the reports and media like jumping on the, you know, the mental side of things, how I'm different mentally now than I was before, but they don't understand how much of a difference it made. Period. Like, just for me as a person, as me as a dad, as me as a husband, as me living my life, which is a lot more than, you know, fighting and training and whatnot. So the mental aspect was massive, you know, and so working on that was obviously my first and foremost thing and the most important factor. But then once I got that in place, the rest was just like dominoes. Everything just kind of clicked together. They all just started falling down. It was simple to try and want to improve because I wasn't dragging my feet to the sessions. I was getting to the sessions happy. I was learning. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be there. And if you have that approach towards something, it's impossible not to get better.
So what was it? What was that I know, like, you know, it happened sort of a while ago, but what was the big switch? Like, I keep hearing you say that you know why you want to fight now. Like, what is the main reason? What is the why for you as far as why you fight?
This is my craft. This is how I provide for my family. You know, there is a personal level of satisfaction with earning my money this way, because I enjoy fighting and I enjoy the role of being like a modern day gladiator, of going into the arena to sweat and bleed for my money. Like, I enjoy that. Okay, and as weird as that sounds, but I do, and I like that role. I like how it fits. But my overwhelming drive is because this is how I provide for my family. This is how I provide for my wife and my kids, and this is my craft. Sorry, mate.
That's all right.
And and in doing that, like that, that just made it very simple for me. That was very, very simple for me. Understanding that, and not just in a way where I just say, you know, this is what I'm doing now. No, I sat down with it and came to that decision by like really sitting with my thoughts and understanding it all, and stepping away from the fight game and everything like that. The time I did.
Well, I mean, yeah, you took the time off to sort of, you know, give yourself that chance to realize this stuff. And I just wonder, like, why do you think your approach is so different and you're able to be so honest with yourself and sort of, you know, look at some of the mistakes and, you know, the way the first fight played out compared to, say, other guys like, say, you know, Paulo Costa or Marvin Vettori, where, like, I'm not trying to pile on them or anything, but, like, you know, some of those guys were saying even after their rematches, they're like, oh, they still won. And it just felt like they didn't come to terms with the fact that the first fight didn't go their way. Whereas I feel like you've come to terms with that a lot better. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Could be a little ego thing. Could be more. Could be like I said, because of how personal they took the fights. That it just, the idea of them losing hurts so much more. You know, makes them upset. Who knows? And you know, maybe some sliver of their mind they think they did win. You know, hard to say. I don't know them. I don't know why they. I don't know how they act. I can't speak for how they're doing it.
Huge moment in Australasian history when you guys fight each other. Obviously, you're focused on this fight, but if things do go down your way and play out the way that you wanted, do you anticipate that with this win, you'll most likely be doing a third fight straight away, or do you think there's a chance here that things sort of take a break for a bit?
Mate, the calendar only goes up until the fight. Whatever happens afterwards, happens afterwards. All I do know for sure is that after the fight, I'm going to eat some good food, go home and spend some time with my family and friends, eating and drinking for a little bit.
How satisfying will it be, for you to get this one back after everything that's happened? How satisfying will this one be for you?
Mate, no less satisfying than any other win.
Really? Even like other fights where they were like, fight nights or whatever? You would think that this one, getting the title back and, avenging that, you would think, the general consensus would be that it would mean more. It doesn't?
No, because if you start looking at the positives in a higher light, then the downfalls are just that much worse. They're always the same. You win or lose. It's, you can't make something seem more. It's not like, people think because it's a title fight, I trained harder for this fight than usual. Mm-hmm. No, that means I wasn't giving my all last camp. That's not how I work. I'm going into this fight with everything I have. And for better or worse, I'm going to be eating some good food after the fight, and I'm going to go home to my kids and family.
Exactly. And I think that this journey to the title started a little while ago. You've got some great wins, and here we go as you go in against Israel. As we wrap up, man, it's a moment that you've probably thought about for quite some time since the first fight. How do you see this rematch sort of playing out? What goes through your mind when you think about this rematch? How do you see it going?
Honestly, it's hard to say, but if I could visualize the fight, it'd be go in there and fill out the waters and just perform. I want to utilize my entire skill set. I want to make him feel uncomfortable. I want him to get confused because of how many weapons I'm throwing at him. And if I can, but of all of that, if I could just get in there and perform, know that I did my best and I managed to display my best, then I'll leave a happy man.
Is that sort of the key? Because whenever I see you do an interview, the key seems to be utilizing the full skill set. People want to talk about the Jan Blachowicz blueprint or whatever, but from you, I feel like you want to have as many tools as possible in this fight.
Yeah, I just want to, I think utilizing my full skill set is the best version of me. I think that's what will make me the best Robert Whittaker, and that's what I'm trying to achieve.
It's interesting because a lot of the times when you go into a fight, a submission or a knockout is obviously something that most fighters look for. But I kind of get a sense from you as well that you almost just want to go in there and show off some of your skills and just kind of it's not as much about a finish, but more to show that you being able to dominate him in a bunch of different areas in the fight when it comes down to it. Would that be so?
The finishes follow. The finishes follow performance. If I'm performing well, they'll come.
I can't wait, man. UFC 271, February 12th. It's going to be the 13th in Australia and New Zealand. That's the important date. Follow the man on Twitter and Instagram at Robert Whittaker, at Robert Whittaker MMA. Rob, thank you so much for your time, man. Have fun in Houston. Enjoy the post-fight burritos, and best of luck, man.
Pleasure's all mine, mate. Thanks for having me on, guys.